So, our guest today is Judi Holler, keynote speaker, USA Today best-selling author, and creator of the Holler Method. Judi helps wildly capable people move through fear, overthinking, perfectionism, and self-doubt by turning courage into a daily practice. Blending her corporate leadership background with professional improv training from the Second City, Judi teaches people how to stop waiting for confidence and start building it through movement. Her message is bold, practical, and deeply human. The call is coming from inside the house. It's time to pick up. Welcome to the show today, Judi. Disclaimer: any of the guidance offered by the podcast host, myself, or the podcast guests is our own guidance. We are not liable for any of the actions the podcast listener decides to do.
It's good to be here, Johnny. Thanks so much for that. And yes, the call, this is a 90s pop culture reference. And if you're Gen X and you're listening right now, you're going to get that. But the call is always coming from inside the house. And the question is, like, are you brave enough to pick up the phone, to answer the call of your life, really?
Yeah, that's actually where I was going to start, Judi. I'd love to know, for anyone who's not familiar with the phrase, like, what does it mean exactly to, like, the calls coming from inside the house?
Yeah, I mean, this is the essence of what it means to truly holler at your life too. Like, I believe there are far too many of us reaching for all of these things outside of us to define us, to validate us, to verify us, right? When I think that really what will always verify you, what will always make you original, what will always make you different and innovative and the most creative being you can be is all the stuff you're already born with, like all the stuff like you've already been given by whatever you believe in. So I think the call is not coming from outside the house. There's no one else that can that can fix you, that can save you. There's people that can inspire you. There's people that can activate you. There's people that can show you the way. Oh my gosh, I have dozens of these examples. But I have found in my 50 years on this planet that the call is actually and really always coming from deep, deep inside yourself. And if we can learn to listen, if we can get brave enough to kind of shake the internal tree and see what apples fall off and what feels good to take a bite out of, like, we will have everything we will always need throughout eternity to create and do and be and become anything and everything we want, because, like, we're the art, like we are it, because we exist. And so that's what I mean. I mean, you know, your house, the house you live in, is always talking to you, is always speaking to you, is always reminding you, you know, good or bad, you're always being spoken to. The question is, are you listening?
Are you listening? Wow. And just like bringing that out from within. And I can tell that's like it seems like that's a big drive of yours, to help people get that out of themselves. And I'd love to know where that comes from, that you want to help so many people with that.
You know, it's what an awesome question. Listen, I was born with the last name Holler, right? Like, I was born a verb, literally. That is my surname, right? Like I was born with this verb, and it's interesting that it took me, actually. So I just turned 50 two weeks ago, but I did not wake up this verb that I was born with. I'd had it my whole life. I was born with it, but I did not wake it up from a content, from a creation, from a thought leadership perspective, from like a life mantra, from a North Star perspective, from a why, but like it has now become my why. Like, it is now like the legacy of this last name has become like the legacy I hope to leave in the world, in every life that changes, because I share what I'm about to answer here. With what is my why. Like, this verb that I was born with, I did not wake it up until I was like 46 years old, 47 years old. And I think so many times there are things like right beneath that surface level, like right beneath our nose, like it's so close to us that we can't even see it, because we are so clouded in other people's opinions and fear of making a mistake and perfectionism and self-doubt and distrust of ourselves that we can't even recognize the gifts we have. So I think that is why I feel so called to do the work that I now do in the world, why I'm like on this mission to help people holler at their life, because I believe I was born to activate. I believe I was given this like verb on purpose to help others become their own, to help help other people recognize that the art is never outside of themselves, that it's actually inside of us. And I use my last name and I use this verb in a really cool, different, creative way to just sort of anchor into something, to tie back to legacy, to do it for something bigger than myself, and to activate other people, and to get them to move and do something different and come off autopilot so we can go catch dreams, right, and stop chasing them.
Oh, beautiful. You mentioned at like 47 or like a few years ago, you kind of had the calling for you. What kind of woke it up for you?
Mm. Oh my gosh, a lot of people. So the book I just wrote is a book called Holler at Your Dreams, right? So this is where I was kind of waking up this last name, and it's a collection of personal development and prose and poetry and art. It's a book from soul. It's a book from source. And the reason I wrote the book is the answer to your question. I woke this up and I wrote that book, and I really came back home to my last name because people are like, what inspired you to write the book? I'm like, what inspired me to write the book is that I was so uninspired. Like I was so like bored. I felt like I had gotten to a place in I came up in corporate America and I built this big keynote career, and I've been speaking inside of corporations for the last 15 years. And a lot of my work, while cool and impactful and activating and beautiful and powerful, like I'm so proud of the work I've done, no disrespect to that, I was starting to feel like I was creating in more of a cage than a container. I felt like I was running around constantly having to sell myself instead of just like being myself. I was just kind of done feeling performative. I was so ready to just like feel like myself again. So I sat with a lot of different. So I went on this like journey of self-discovery. I started studying quantum physics and the Enneagram and human design and oh my gosh, just astrology, and started lining up my business plan to the moon. I can't even believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but I really started to call myself back home to myself. And I got really curious on who am I really? And how am I different? And what environments are I meant to thrive in? And how should I be making decisions? And, all of that led me back home to myself. And one of the questions, a healer, I sat with a healer. I've done all these conversations with shaman and all this crazy stuff,
Wow.
right? But one person said to me, they said, what were you doing at 8 years old? Like, who was 8 to 10-year-old little Judy Booty? Everybody calls me Booty. What was Judy doing? What was she doing? What was she playing? What was she writing? What was she wearing? What was she dreaming about? What was she like coloring? What did she want to be when she was growing up? What was she playing in the basement? So I started calling auntie, uncle, bestie, like anybody who's still alive, mom, dad, sister, brother, high school friends. I'm like, what was I like? And look, trying to find photos of like myself at 8 to 10, because 8 to 10 is you before the world gets a hold of you and tells you, ooh, shh, sit down, not good enough. Oh my God, you stand out. Oh my gosh, you're a little bit different. Like it's the realest, rawest, wildly dopest, most authentic version of your soul. And if we could maybe get some clues from 8 to 10-year-old you, you can then start to say, well, is she anywhere in my life now? Like, where has she been? And how could I bring a little bit more of her out? So, for example, tactically, I started there. I started studying myself, spending time with myself through self-discovery, I Ching, quantum physics, human design, Enneagram, 8 to 10-year-old Judy, pulling all this stuff out of myself creatively. And I realized, oh my God, the boombox, neon colors, graffiti, denim, 90s, music, Saturday Night Live, the arts, Gilda Radner, like all of these like beautiful things like shaped this little being that I was. And Was it anywhere in my life? And what if I started pulling more of it out? So I started like bringing the graffiti and the neon to the way I dressed on stage, into my presentations, into the things I shared online. So this is where it becomes sort of a tactical example of how you can pull more of who you are into your work professionally and still honor yourself like creatively and spiritually. So that's kind of where it all began for me. And that was one of the more powerful questions someone asked me. But that journey of self-discovery certainly brought me back home to myself and woke me up creatively. But Johnny, the like really cool byproduct is it made me feel like, talk about self-esteem, talk about confidence. It's skyrocketed both of those things because now I knew who I was. And I was like, nothing is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with me. Actually, everything is right with me. And the reason this doesn't fit, the reason that's not for me, the reason I don't feel like I should go there or fit in here or do this or do that is because it's not mine. It's not for me. It is not for me. And I felt so protected. I felt so like in purpose. I felt so driven. I felt so ready. I felt so brave. I felt so confident. I felt so courageous because I was like, oh, yes, now I see. Here's who I am. Here's Soul's mission. Let's go down that path and see what happens. So it really, like, I don't even know if I would be where I'm at right now with all this work I've been doing over the last 5 years if I had not went on that journey of self-discovery and started really tapping into like all that fun stuff because it made me just, it was like rocket fuel for my confidence. I was like, all right, now I know where I'm going, who I am, and I feel really protected in the choices I'm making because there's something way bigger than me guiding me here. And that's fun. Like that's the game. That's the game, figuring out what's yours. What's yours?
It's yours. Love that. So, did you feel like you had almost like reconnected with that little girl inside of you?
Oh yeah, I reclaimed her. I reclaimed her. And this is why I have such a problem with the word reinvention.
Yeah, let's cover that.
Yeah. So, like, you probably have a lot of people listening that are maybe in entrepreneurship, maybe running a business, maybe in a creative endeavor. Maybe they could be a creative in Denver, but they're probably in some sort of creative endeavors, right? Play on words there. Or maybe they're just trying to live their life and they're a woman in the world, a man in the world, trying to figure out how to parent, father, friend, just do life in the world today. I think there's a lot of conversation out there on the word reinvention, right? There's so much pressure to reinvent ourselves, to reinvent our brands, to reinvent our businesses, our lifestyles, our way of being, our way of living. And I don't think that's the work. I think when I think about the word reinvention, think about it, reinvention, it means like starting from scratch. But we are not. You are not from scratch. You are the entire match. And sometimes we just need to relight the fire and remember who we are. So I believe in reclamation, not reinvention, because most of us don't lose ourselves all at once. We lose ourselves in these like tiny negotiations, these moments of like toning it down to fit in, these moments of asking the dress code, like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you doing? Let me just do what everybody else is doing. Like we become digestible, like we abandon our perspective and our point of view to belong. But reclamation is asking, who was I before the world told me who I had to be? What was I doing at 8 before the world got a hold of me? What did I really want to be when I grew up? What inspires me? What gives me energy? What do I do for fun? And like, is that anywhere in my life and in my business? So reinvention says, start over. What you have there isn't good enough. Here's a blank canvas, start over, start painting again because it's not good enough. Reclamation says, ooh, I love what you've made here. I love what you've done so far, and let me see more. Here's a brush, take the paint, let's get to town. Let's paint some more, right? So So what I'm trying to get people to understand with my books, with my work, with my keynote, with the things I share and write and create, what I'm trying to get people to understand is they're the art, you're the art. And it's time to stop painting the canvas of our lives with other people's brushes and pick up our own, because that's what it's going to take to make anything you touch original, you, like your perspective, your stories, your wisdom, your point of view, and the courage it takes to do all of that. So yeah, I'm down for reclamation and not reinvention.
Mm.
I'm down for what you have here is amazing. I love what you've done the place. And let's paint some more. What if we painted over here? What if we started painting with a different color? What if your whole life you've been painting with purple because everybody's told you purple's the color and purple's the color. And oh my God, I'm a purple girl. But you find out one day that purple's not really yours. It was your mom's. And you loved purple because you love your mom. And everything in your house growing up was purple. So you just adopted purple because you felt purple was supposed to be your color, but you actually really love green. So what if we start painting with green and see what happens there, right? So I think we adopt a lot of these narratives from other people, and of course we're going to be inspired by other things. We should, but the goal and the game is to figure out, ooh, what's mine? We try things on, we pick things up, we put them down, we try things on, figure out what's for us and what's not for us, and that just requires courage and experimentation, which is a huge part of my methodology, and just living in this laboratory of life to help us figure out what gives us energy and what doesn't, what brings us joy and what doesn't, because it's always going to be on the other side of that energy and that joy. So, yeah, reinvention, not for it. Reclamation, here for it. Here for it.
Reclamation. You also touched on like what gives you energy, and I know I've definitely been in a place where I'm like, I should logically like that or do that, but there's a huge difference between that and something that energetically is like, wow, I can't wait to do that, and yeah, I just know there's a huge difference. It sounds like there's quite a lot of touching in with your energy in your work as well. And I can definitely
Oh,
tell
100%.
you're energetic from what we've talked
I'm
so
so
far. You're
enthusiastic.
so enthusiastic and energetically excited being you. I love it.
Well, and that's so interesting you say that. Is, I learned the difference between energy and enthusiasm. Those are different things. Energy is, it's a limited resource. We have to charge our energy. Our energy can get drained. Our energy can get fueled up. We have to protect our energy. Like energy is a perishable item in a way, right? Like, just like you are. And so, I get people assume my enthusiasm is energy, and I love energy, and I am an energetic person. But through my human design and my study of all of that and learning myself, one of my big gates, one of my gates in human design that's wide open. And once I learned this, I was like, oh, let's go. Because when I have the gate of enthusiasm in human design wide open, it's one of my number one gates. And I'm like, well, no wonder. This is how I got into keynote speaking. Like I learned things. Like I took an improv class the whole reason I got into keynote speaking was I did something for fun. I literally recreated, which this is a part of my methodology. The R in the Holler method is recreation, because I deeply believe when you recreate, when you go have fun, when you try on new things, you literally recreate your entire life. And I made one choice 15 years ago to take an improv class for fun. Improv theater is a form of live theater. There's no script. We play with an ensemble on stage. And I signed up for improv classes at Second City in Chicago, which is a very famous improv theater, level A improv, no audition required. I was working in corporate by day, and I just had no friends in the city. I was brand new to Chicago. So I said, let's go do this for fun. I made that choice to recreate and try out some improv to make friends and stretch myself. And it literally changed my entire life because I got so enthusiastic about what I was learning that I would beg my boss. I would go to my sales job and I would say, oh my God, Heather, you have got to let me lead the next sales meeting. You have to let me talk to the salespeople about what I'm learning in improv. Yes, and no mistakes, only gifts, embracing failure, courage, all this stuff. And she let me. And then I started writing about it and speaking at events in the industry. It was like this accidental, but my enthusiasm was just this, and the speaking business became and becoming a speaker became a natural byproduct of the thing I was so enthusiastic about at the time. And it's still true for me today, like human design, quantum physics, right? Enneagram, personal, self-discovery, all the things I'm talking about now, creativity, innovation, self-expression. These are things I'm so enthusiastic about. And I think knowing that about myself makes me feel less like, oh my God, she's a lot. I'm like, no, I am being me. Like I cannot help myself. If I love something, I am just naturally going to charge up about it. And I follow that energy and it always leads me to success. So maybe your gate is not the gate of enthusiasm, but whatever your gate is, wouldn't it be nice to know that so you can unlock it and walk through it and use it to make money and have fun and open doors and be successful and healthy and abundant? It's like if you have access to this information, if you have an atlas to your life, wouldn't you want the map? You know what I mean? And it's like I got the map. And so now I'm like, well, here's the business plan. And the business plan is me. And soul is strategy. And courage is the crown, right? And so I started to like, that's where and how and why this became like really strategic for me. So all that to say, yes, energy and enthusiasm, but this is where that stuff can become really potent and really dope and really powerful because it can turn into like a business plan. So like if you're lost, if you're like, I'm stuck, I'm in a rut, I don't know what's next, yo, go do your human design. Go sit with an Enneagram chart. Like, go study some astrology. And better yet, like, start asking yourself, what right now is draining my energy, literally sucking the life out of my soul? And what every time I do it gives me energy? Like, what do I miss? What's not on my calendar? How do we get less of the energy sucking things in our life and more of the like energy giving stuff into our calendars, into our weeks, and into our lives? And like, watch how that starts to unlock you mentally, physically, emotionally, and creatively. So, yeah.
So is human design a part of what you do in the
I'm
method?
obsessed. I am obsessed. I'm going to go through, I'm like working on a certification and I'm actually going to build out a custom certification. We are in the process of this now that is just mine that pairs the elements of human design I love the most with the 6 components of my methodology so that someone can get a self-generated, like we're building this right now, report just for them. So you can see your chart, yes, but also pair it up with this methodology I've built that is really a system, like kind of like a personal operating system for self-expression and courage and creativity and innovation today. So yes, I'm obsessed with it. I've been studying it for 4 years and work with a really great coach, and we're building out something right now. So more to come on that. But yeah, it's one of my favorite tools. It really. I think out of everything I studied over the last 5 years, have you done any human design, Johnny? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I know my type at a top
Oh,
level.
what's your type?
Manifester. I like
Oh,
creating and using the voice, but I'm not someone who can. I like working hard, but if I need a break when I do it and then I go away, refresh, come out of ideas, that's me. When it was described to me, it's like, wow, that is me. And you get the guide and it goes deeper, which
oh
I'm
my
really good
God.
at. Yeah, it's so good.
A manifester. Well, this makes sense. Even just getting to know you online and seeing your platform and what you're doing here with the podcast and the sort of energy you're attracting, this makes sense. I love manifestors. I'm a projector, which is interesting because I was kind of peed. I don't know if I can cuss here, but I was kind of peed off.
No, no, it's fine.
I was kind of pissed off because I wanted to be a manifester. I was like, I am absolutely a manifester. And so I told her, because you have to give your birth time. And I was like, run it again. Did you put in the wrong time? And she's like, girl, I did not put in the wrong time. You are a projector. And I'm like, well, no wonder, because I've been trying to squeeze my life into this manifester, this manifesting generator energy. And projectors, we do not have our motor centers filled in. We do not generate, we're 20% of the planet. Manifestors, manifesting generators, and generators, you, Johnny, you are 70% of the world. They're the thinkers, the entrepreneurs, the doers, the makers of the world. We projectors are 20% of the world. We are the thinkers, the feelers, the pattern. We notice patterns. And I'm like, well, no wonder my business felt like it was sucking the soul out of my life. No wonder I'm watching all these people online feeling like so left out, so behind, like what's wrong with me? Why are all these people courses, go create, boom, boom, 5 posts a day. And I'm over here like, I need a nap, right? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just, I'm a completely different energetic source. And knowing that helped me tap into my energy in a whole different way. So it's potent. It's powerful, and it can just give you so much self-esteem and so much confidence, because now you're like, oh, again, nothing's wrong with me. Everything's right with me. How do I wake it up? And so there's so many great resources out there that can help people get started. So go down that rabbit hole. But I love a manifester. I envy a manifester a little bit. I always like, work hard to bring a little manifestor energy into my week when my energy levels are really high, because that's how we get SHIT done. But I love a manifester. You guys are pretty special.
No, no, it's an interesting one. There's generators and manifesting generators, which I think we're a little bit different from.
Oh,
The
yes.
generators can a constant sort of like grind.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Correct. Very different.
interesting. Yeah,
Very different. Very different. But
but
isn't that interesting to know? And the last thing I'll say, one of my favorite parts of the whole human design chart, there's a whole component you get. And again, guys, if you want to do this, you have to know the time you were born. That's how we get accurate with this. If you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble. You can't get as close. You can't get as into the nitty gritty if you don't know the time you were born, AM, PM, location, and your birth date. That's the stuff you need: the birth date, the city, state you were born in, and then the time you were born. But one of the most interesting for me, Johnny, was understanding it will tell you, it will give you an environment you are designed for.
mm,
Like where you are, where your soul, where your being, where you, the only you that is, there's no one else like you. No one else will have your exact chart. There might be multiple manifestors in the world, but no one's a manifestor like you, because there's so many numbers involved here.
mm,
See, you can feel the enthusiasm. I'm like sweating over here. I just love this stuff so much. But it will tell you the environment you are designed for. And
mm,
I had moved from the Midwest, from a really creative, artsy, they call them kitchens in human design, kitchen-esque environment where there's always something cooking in the kitchen, like arts, theaters, playgrounds, hair salons. These are the environments for me. I moved from Chicago, improv, the arts, creativity, graffiti, music, city, boom, 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 culture, all that stuff, to the middle of the Midwest, Ohio. And I slowly started like struggling. And it doesn't mean that I couldn't go get some of that creative energy for myself, but I did not understand why I was struggling. It's because I had stolen away from my soul and myself the environment I was meant to thrive in, which is in human design. One of your environments is called a kitchen. And I am to be in a kitchen. So now, even here in Scottsdale, I may not live in Chicago anymore. Every week I make sure that I have a kitchen environment. Where's my kitchen this week? Am I going to work from a hotel lobby and getting a really cool buzz from some young energy? Am I going to go to a co-working space? Am I going to go run around an art museum on Saturday? Like every week I have to put a kitchen into my schedule to like, am I going to a college campus? Am I going to go speak with some kids? Like, where am I going to go? Great. I'm getting my hair done this week. Ooh, I'm going to get all kinds of energy in that salon and listen to all the conversations and whiteboard some stuff. Like, we have a lot of fun at the salon. That's a kitchen. And that's an environment for me that I have to have in my life. And knowing that, see, is powerful. So I think a lot of people silently struggle and they don't realize that their environment is why they're struggling. There is something in their environment that they could quickly change, and whew, we could open up a whole new world, a whole new level of confidence, a whole new level of self-esteem, just because we've shifted our environment.
wow. The role of that. It's you don't even think of that going day to day, and day to day, it's kind of just what you're used to, and what you're sharing is how much that can impact you and knowing yourself, really truly. I know you mentioned about improv. I'd love to kind of know, for someone, how can that help with someone's confidence, an improv
Oh my
class?
gosh. I always say improv for me, if you ever get an opportunity to take an improv class or study any improv or do any of that work, for me, it was like fear yoga.
Mm,
When I was going there, I was working in corporate by day, and corporate America and business and work is very, follow the rules, system, structure, strategy. And it doesn't mean in art we don't have rules. Rules are actually pretty magical in art too, because they keep our art safe. So rules are not a bad thing. They can protect the artist. They can protect the art. And in the improv theater, we have a lot of rules to keep our art safe. But it became, and I can share maybe one or two of my favorite in a minute with you. But yeah, it became like this sort of laboratory for courage, for embracing failure, for not fearing mistakes, for trusting myself, for going scared, doing things scared, and not being afraid to do that publicly. So by day in corporate, you're being told to like structure, rules, regulations, like be yourself, but not too much. Like do whatever you want with the presentation, but run it by the team first, right? Whereas in the improv theater, you're being told like literally go out there and fail. And tonight I want you to fail so hard and I can't wait to talk about it, right? And that is a very different mindset. So it got me really comfortable with the cringe before we were even saying cringe. I learned like just how to get into that. It's a lab. It's like a laboratory of courage and creativity and expression and failure. And it's like a fear training and a fear yoga that just gets you really stretched out, and it really builds that muscle so that when you go out into the world. So by day, so I'd be doing this at night, and then by day, I'd be like, you know what? I am going to ask the first question. I'm going to speak up first on the call. I'm going to go for the promotion. I'm going to move to the new apartment. I'm going to go on the date. I'm going to leave the crappy date, right? I started making I would play all these games, experimenting with my fear because I was getting really brave at night in the improv, watching it change my life. So by day in the real world, I was like, well, let me play these games. Let me see if this starts to really, and I started to get noticed, and I started to get promotions, and I started to get what I wanted. And, I'd go on dates. So that means I'd date people, and I'd, make new friends, and I'd have new experiences because I was changing environment. I was saying yes to new things. I was going scared. And it was just giving me a collection of story and experience and life perspective that serves me to this day. So it was my very first fear training, fear yoga boot camp. And I think that's what improv's all about. It's how do you understand that it's about getting comfortable in the discomfort, and it's about staying in it, even if and even when it's uncomfortable, because you're learning to trust yourself through the discomfort.
Wow, that's really good. Kind of like a fear yoga, like you said, and through like systems and corporate or even in business, and generally like a lot of us, I know I'm definitely on that and always going to be been working through that a long time. It's like don't want to make a mistake, and it's like, but improv's like actually giving you permission and actually allowing you to feel that. It sounds like really good. I know also linked to that you're not a fan of the word fearless either, are you?
No, I don't hate many things, and I don't throw the word hate around a lot, but I actually hate the word fearless. I think let's talk about that. I think it's fake, and I think it's really confusing, and here's what I mean by that. Because the world is telling us, everything out there is telling us to be fearless. Fearless t-shirts, fearless books, fearless tattoos, fearless jewelry. But if you really think about like the word fearless, like if you were really fearless, think about it. You would do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like you would eat poisonous foods on purpose because you're fearless, right? You'd jump out of a plane with no parachute. You'd walk down dark alleys alone at night by yourself in the UK at 3 a.m. because you're fearless, right? You would
Punch
do
a
all this
shark or
crazy,
something, yeah.
right? You punch a shark. Like you're like, I'm fearless, right? And if you think about fearless, like the only fearless, there's this great line in the book called Big Magic. Have you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
Yeah, I feel like maybe, but a very long time ago.
Oh, okay. It's so good, everybody. It's worth a reread, Johnny. It's so good. It's all about creative living beyond fear. So, y'all, if you're listening, go grab that book. But in the book, she says this about the word fearless. And when I read it, I loved it so much. She goes, think about it. The only fearless people I know are 5-year-olds and sociopaths. So, no, the goal is not fearless. The goal is figuring out how to fear our fear itself less. And the only way you can do that is by being in the practice of it, by going scared, by getting uncomfortable every day on purpose, keywords there, on purpose, in order to build the comfort and the courage and the bravery and the self-esteem and the confidence that we all truly desire. So it's not about being fearless. It's about figuring out how to fear our fear itself less. And that is what makes you brave. That's what I think we want. And what we're really, I think the intention, people, when they say you're so fearless, they mean well. Most people are calling you brave. But I think so we hear the word fearless and then someone feels fear and they're like, well, God, I'm trash or something's wrong with me because I feel afraid. I'm like, no, babe, if you feel afraid, you are doing something right. It means you're on the edge of growth and change and reclamation. Like, let's go. Get scared more often. Or it's here to literally show you that you're actually in danger. So this is my first book. It's called Fear is My Homeboy on purpose. No, fear is awesome. Fear is our friend, right? Like fear is our ride or die, our constant companion. Like we want fear because it's going to keep us safe or it's going to tell us go. Like you're scared, that means growth. That means change because you've never done it before. So you're not supposed to know what you're doing, but go play and see what happens, right? So yeah, like I think that's why I hate it so much because I think all these sweet people out in the world are like, oh my God, I feel afraid, so I'm trash and something's wrong with me. And I'm like, no, you're human. You're normal. You don't need to be fearless. If you were fearless, you would be a sociopath. So you're doing great. You're being human. Just keep moving, keep going, scared. And the more you do that, the braver you get, the more confident you get. And of course, self-esteem will be a natural byproduct of that.
I like that. There's no fearless people apart from like Elizabeth Gilbert's book,
Isn't that a good one?
A
I have
Quote,
to give her credit. Yeah, it's too good.
Big Magic. Yeah. I think it was recommended by a coach of mine years ago and I
Oh,
touched on it. So that's awesome. But I know you're obviously a public speaker, keynote speaker. A big fear for a lot of people is public speaking. And I think like I had to build my journey for of like even just speaking in a room of like a few people. It's like
oh
this
yeah,
used to be like 10
totally.
years ago, like, you know, and
Totally.
I think a lot of people look at other people and think, oh, they're just fearless. They can just speak confidently in front of people. Was that something you had to build up over the years, your public speaking confidence? Did you find you had fear at different levels? I just always like to hear it from
Yeah.
keynote speakers.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I work on it. I always say I work on it every day. I mean, I always say that I have a keynote because I love the laboratory. I kind of see I think all the greats practice. And I think people are afraid of the word practice, or people are afraid to be seen practicing. But think about it, all the greats do it. Doctors practice medicine, lawyers practice law, actors practice lines, athletes practice free throws. Like they are on the court, they are running the drills and the reps, right? So I always say that I don't have a speaking business, I have a speaking practice. I'm always in practice of the art and the craft and the gift that I've been given, that is and just so happens to be public speaking. So yes, I'm always working on it. I rehearse so much so I can let it go. And I think we rehearse to be able to look natural on stage. So if we lose technology, if something goes wrong, not if, when something goes wrong, when we go off script, when there needs to be a human moment in the room, we feel confident and courageous to do that because we know our work so well, because we've done the work so well. So I'm always practicing. I'm always in the laboratory, and it's taken me a lifetime to get to where I'm at, on stage as a pro speaker and as a performer today. And I always say, don't trust a keynote speaker that tells you they're not nervous, they're lying, or they need to get out of the game. I am nervous before every keynote presentation, but those nerves mean I give a damn and that I care and that I'm not phoning it in and that this means something to me. And usually now within 90 seconds, the nerves are gone because once you're in the motion of the work, you kind of are just in flow, right, of the performance. But yeah, I mean, the nerves never really go away. You just get stronger. You just get more confident and you just build the self-trust to know that, this isn't about me up here. It's about how do I leave the room better than I found it? And how do I make an impact on even just one person? And if I can do that over a lifetime in every room, we're winning. But I'm always like, I always get up there and I'm always like, oh, I cannot wait to share this gift with them. Like I always know that my keynote's going to like have a gift wrapped inside of it. And I'm like, it's like how when you give someone a gift, you're just so excited for them to open it. That's kind of the energy I bring to the stage. And I'm like, I can't wait to share the gift that I have, from my life story and my wisdom and my experience. I'm not here to be the expert on your business. They don't need me to be the expert on their business. They have hired me to bring an outside perspective to the way they do business. And that has just taken the pressure off of me and gotten me really excited and enthusiastic about sharing the gift that I get to bring to the stage that year. Because usually there's a new keynote speaker every year and you want new inspiration from the outside. So it's been a journey and I work hard at my craft and I customize very deeply and very intentionally. And I'm certainly a big perfectionist. But I feel I'm one of those weird anomalies that it is sort of, my goodness, I was born with the last name Holler. And I was like that little kid in grade school who was doing speech meets, and winning like state championships. Like I'd memorize monologues and all this stuff. I was never in debate, but I mean, I was like a baby keynote speaker in fifth grade, not even realizing this was like a job. So I think I've always had, luckily, a gift for performance and public speaking. But oh yeah, I mean, not court, standing in front of 400 people with Bank of America. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, And so this is why also kind of back to the methodology and the work on yourself. This is why we have to know ourselves. And this is why we have to be so in trust with ourselves. Because when we know ourselves, we can really be ourselves. And from that place and that place only, can we really truly effectively lead ourselves on stage as a speaker, in life, on a podcast, whatever it is that we're doing. So, the self-trust that is self-awareness just naturally breeds and brings self-esteem and confidence. And it makes you look fearless, but really what you're doing is just being brave. And the bravest thing you can do is trust yourself and get to know yourself so that you can trust yourself.
It's amazing. Yeah. Then I know you're obviously doing a lot of work to help people trust themselves, come back to them, holler through like who they are.
Holler at your life. Let's go.
The Holler method, which is incredible. So, Judi, I'd love to wrap today up by asking you, where is the best place for the listener to get hold of your work, your resources, your services, to really support them with the Holler method and everything you're doing? Someone who really wants to get back to them, build that confidence, that self-trust. And is there maybe a final point you'd like to leave us with today?
Oh, I love it. Okay. So first things first, I mean, if you're listening right now and you really want to jump into the work, I have two books. My first book is called Fear is My Homeboy. Both of these books are available wherever you love buying books. And they're both on Audible and in hardcover, paperback, all the things. And the second book I just wrote is a book called Holler at Your Dreams. So I think these are two really, and you can just Google my name. I'm Judi with an I, Judi Holler. And you can find my books. You can find my website. You can find my Instagram. I think those are the three best places to get into my work. But my audiobooks, my books, those are going to be really powerful places to start. And then, of course, I'm a keynote speaker. So if you hire speakers, let's work together. That's always a great way to work together and to really get a big bang for your buck. And I don't know, my gosh, like there's so much to say. What's that one thing? You know, the call's always coming from inside the house, right? You are the art. There is nothing that needs to be reinvented. I am for courage, reclamation, self-trust, experimentation, right? Creativity, expression, and just reminding people that because they breathe oxygen and because you exist in this world, you have everything you need to go do everything you want to go do in this life. The question is, are you ready to answer the call? Are you ready to slow down enough to listen? Are you brave enough to go on the journey of self-discovery and figure out who the F you are? Because if you can commit to that, you will wake up so many gifts that have been lying dormant and just pump so much oxygen into the way you lead, to the way you live, to the way you parent, to the way you friend. And you'll just start having so much more fun because it's so fun to be yourself. And gosh, if there's one thing you can do on the other side of listening to me, and this is what it means to holler at your life, do something different tomorrow within the next 24 hours. Like pull yourself off autopilot. Go do something different. Like take a different drive to work tomorrow. Go to a new grocery store. Brush your teeth with your left hand. Pick up the phone and call someone you haven't in a long time. Literally put your face on the social medias if you haven't forever. Ask for the business. Sit in the front row at your next meeting. Ask the first question. Like if you could do that every day, one thing every day, watch out. You'll glitch your matrix. New opportunities will start flying in. And most importantly, you'll get really, really brave because you'll build a tolerance for pain that will naturally like rocket fuel your self-esteem and your confidence.
Amazing. Answer that call and go on that journey to discover yourself and who you are. I love it. Judi, thank you for everything you shared today. Just a few of the golden nuggets that you're putting out in the world, but we really appreciate everything you shared and the guidance today. Judy's books are going to be linked in the show notes below, so grab them there, or you can go and visit her social media or website, which are also linked in the show notes below as well. So once again, Judy, a massive thank you for coming on today.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. So fun.
Thank you. So that concludes today's episode. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.